Wilderness Empires, published by Worthington Publishing, 2015. It was a Kickstarter project, I believe, from early 2014. Designed by Bill Molyneux. Molyneux. I believe that's how to pronounce it. I don't speak French. I asked around. That's the best I could get. So, Bill, I'm sorry if I screwed your name up. Anyways, let's go inside and take a look at this. Alrighty, so here we are looking at the game map. Down here, the brown section is British, the gray section is French, the green section is Native American, who allies with the French. You can see I have a whole lot of blocks on the board, and these little green markers are Native American villages. I'll cover that in a second. And then you're going to have tracks to keep victory points on, and also keep track of which season you're on, and then you got your cards. Block game, so you know about move units. You have stacking limits and sections. The rules on movement in this, it's really interesting. I'm going to show you the different types of units here first. You have, that's a British infantry. Tell 4 pips across the top. This is a militia. See that white stripe? That tells you it's a militia. It's 2 strength. This is Native American. This is the Iroquois. They sided with the British. And then French units are similar. You have a infantry, and then white stripe is the militia. Then the Native American units. And all of these pieces, I don't know if you can see how sharp this is. This is Don Troiani artwork. It's one of the things I just love. Love to look at his stuff. The cards and the pieces are all his, and the box cover, it's all his artwork. Anyway, so the rules for movement in this thing, leaders are very important. Let me show you a leader here. This is William Johnson, if you're familiar with his history in the Albany area. Anyways, if not, it's lots of good reading out there. Anyway, leaders, you cannot move into an enemy occupied area unless a leader is with you, or if you moved, let's say you were over here at Fort Duquesne, the leader moved here, you could then move leaderless units in there because the leader in his group is already there. Leaders aren't going to move by themselves into an area. They're not going to scare anybody. But if a leader is already in the area with his group, then you can bring them in. You must have a leader to move across these sea zones. Native Americans can move across the Great Lakes Sea, but if it's the militia or the infantry, the regulars, you have to have a leader to move along these. The infantry by themselves, without a leader, can move 1 space. Native Americans and militia can move 2 spaces. If they have a leader with them, they can move equivalent to the number of stars. This is Shirley. He has 1 star. Shirley, you can't be serious. Yes, I am, and don't call me Shirley. Some of the better ones, see if I can find one here. Deeksaw has 2. Obviously, Montcalm and Wolfe are going to have 3. They're reinforcements that come in later. I don't have the other blocks off to the side, but there's a lot more blocks than just this. So, you can move up to the number. The leader can move, and if it's 3 stars, he can move up to 3 spaces. He can attack. So that's the movement rules in this thing. When you go to combat, let me show you these areas. These are regular cities. There were 3 victory points. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a 3 and an anchor for ports. Anyways, let's see. You got a fortress here. It has 2 above it. That's going to be the number of dice it rolls in a combat. Some have victory points like Oswego. 2 in battle, 2 special dice in battle, and 1 victory point. So, oh, I didn't mention this also, sorry. Native Americans are the only ones that can move along these lines out here. When you go into battle, if you attack such as, let's just shove some units up here, and I'd have to have a leader with them. And let me move Deeksaw up here just to make this interesting. Okay, what would happen is you flip your units like you do in block games. And then you got these dice over here. These are your regular combat dice. And you got these 3 special dice. Okay? You roll 1 regular dice for every block on the board, not counting the leaders. So in this case, they'd roll 3. The defense is going to roll 2 because they have 2 units in this. It doesn't matter your strength, it's just the block you have. Okay? Then it comes to the special dice. Even if you have, when I say there's 5 dice, if you have 100 units in there, you're rolling 5 dice. That's the upper limit. That's what I like in this game. No blobbing. They help you absorb hits, but they don't give you any more attack capability. So, you compared leaders. He has 2 stars, he has 1 star. So the French win, so they're going to get a leader bonus die. The fort itself has 2, so they're going to get 2 additional dice. Then you have these cards over here I'm going to cover in a second. Some are combat cards that give you special dice. And you can roll no more than 3 special dice in combat. So the French would be rolling 2 with 3 special dice. The English would roll 3. So even though the English have more units, the French are going to be rolling more dice. The results on these, that means take a hit, rotate your block. This means miss. This means flee. If a unit has a white stripe, you're going to move them down here to this refuse to fight section. So if the British took a hit and a flee, they could do this. Hit, pull him out. He ain't there for the next round. So anyways, you can just keep fighting until you retreat or until one side's eliminated. So if you have lots of units, you can absorb the hits. Infantry will never retreat if you don't. So if you get those, now all you have is infantry, nothing happens. But you're going to find out afterwards that if you have a lot of these militias and Native American units, you're going to have a lot of the flee, and it's going to weaken your strength pretty quickly. After the battle, win, lose, or draw, win or lose, Native Americans are going to go home, which is pretty historically true. Go back to celebrate. Anyways, so you fight on until somebody's eliminated or somebody chooses to retreat. These cards, let me talk about these now. Over here you got 3 slots. In each turn, each year, you got a spring, summer, fall, and winter turn. You can only play cards during the first 3. During the spring, each side can play 1 card. During the summer, each side can play 2. In the fall, you can play 1. In the winter, you can't play any. Let me give you an example. The French already have some set up here. This is how you get your reinforcements in. There's the Montcalm card. Place Montcalm in Louisbourg or Quebec. Native American raids send the British militia home. Half of the British units round down in one location chosen by the French player are placed in any other controlled homeland location, which that's where your brown and silver come into play. 3 French regular units arrive in Louisbourg or Quebec. This is how you get strengths back on your blocks that you lost. Add 2 SP, add 2 strength points. Or bring back any one eliminated militia at 2 strength points. Native Americans can move up to 3 locations and attack without a leader this season. Then you get ones that add special dice to combat. This is adds 2 special dice but cannot be used against a fort. This is add 3 special dice when attacking but only against a fort. And these special, you don't lose dice, your special dice, they're going to stay throughout. Your leaders aren't going to hit and die. Your fort's not going to break apart. And the card effect's going to stay for the whole round, for the whole battle. So you will lose the orange dice as you lose units. You know, one max of 1 die per unit. But anyway, so you play a card, and so if you wanted to, the British could, if they would have had one of those cards, they could have played in the fort and got 3 special dice of their own. Okay? You're limited to that. British have a couple nasty ones in here. French goes in, plays his reinforcement, and then the British can immediately counter with this that says, nope, your French reinforcements are lost because of their naval superiority. But, you know, at that point, if they play that card, or one of the nice things, if the British have already played a card, because I believe the British go first. Yeah, they do. The French know if they've already played a card, hey, they've played their 1 card for the year. When it comes my time, I'm playing that reinforcement. So the British may be holding out to be coy, like, not going to let him know if I have one or not. So that way if he plays it, I can stop it. So the cards fit in, and they create a variability in every game because you don't know what you're going to get in this. So the way you win is, during the winter phase, you stop and you add up the victory points you got on the other side. If either side is up 10 victory points, they win the game. Otherwise, you get to the end of the game, and if the French have held out and stopped the British from getting their 10 plus 10 at any time, they win the game. So that's it. It's a lot of pushing, and you're going to have a little counter pushing. The French are overwhelmed, as they should be, and they're going to have a little leadership advantage at the beginning. The British are going to start to make that up, and it's really the British are racing time, as you will see in these games. But it works really well because of this. The combat system is really great in this system. That it shows you, hey, you can have a superior force, but the other side is causing more casualties due to the cards, due to the leadership advantage, due to the forts, things like this. So it creates that system. Anyways, that is how you play it. One more thing I forgot to mention: the green locations here. At the end of the turn, the militia are all going to roll dice if they're out of their territory. They're going to roll the dice, and if they get the refuse to fight, they're going to go back home. Okay? The Native Americans are automatically going to go back home at the end of the season, during the winter season. Now, if the British end up in one of these locations by themselves, they burn the village down. That can no longer be used to go to. And there is a stacking limit, I believe it's 4, for the Native American units to go home. You can choose which one, but there is a stacking limit. So that's how those fit in. Okay, there. Now we've looked at it. Here's my thoughts on it. Okay, I like block games already, so it wasn't too hard for me to have a good first impression of it. Here's what I really liked. It didn't follow the same old, same old. Too many games get stuck in the Columbia system, ABC, defender fires first, you know the system if you've played them. Number of pips is number of dice, things like that. I love, when I sat there and looked at this game, I thought, why are you not going to, first time I sat down and played it, solitaire, I was like, why do you not blob in this game, as they call it, trying to put 20 or the maximum 12 blocks and then leaders into an area and just steamroll? It's because you're maxed out on dice. Doesn't matter how many extra, just affords you more hits. So I love that part. I like the flee part of it. In some ways, it reminds me of the Academy games, the 1812, the Invasion or Rebellion 1775 game. It reminds me a little bit of that, where you have the hit, miss, or flee, but with the militia and the Native Americans. The best part in my book is the artwork. That's Don Troiani. That's all you got to say. I mean, he is the man. That's what sold me in the game. I saw a block game, Don Troiani, French and Indian War. I'm there. Love that artwork. The map, that's not a Don Troiani map because he doesn't do maps. It's fun. It's highly functional. It's not very pretty. That's been kind of one of the complaints on it, but it works. It's not trying to be a really pretty detailed map. And French and Indian War doesn't have a lot of competition. I mean, it's a whole lot better looking than Mohawk, for instance. I don't remember Few Acres Just Now having too great a map. Wilderness War, it's okay, nothing to write home about. So but it's highly functional. It's real easy to see the areas, what type of point you're in, whether it's a town or whether it's a wilderness or fort. So very easy to see. So the map is functional. The blocks, I love the blocks. They got the shiny gloss stickers on them. That's really cool. I think as far as Worthington, the best games I've ever seen that turn out quality-wise is this, Hold the Line, and Precious Defiant Stand. And this one I think probably edges the others out. And now when we make this video, the new Band of Brothers is not out, so it may beat them all. But I mean, quality of the card stock's great. I still sleeve my cards because I just do. Put that much money in this game, I want to make sure those cards last. But love the artwork. The rules are really easy. I didn't have any questions when I played it. I think there's some questions on the forum, but when I look at them, I was like, I didn't see what the problem was. It was pretty easy. Sat down and taught a buddy of mine this. He's not even into the French and Indian War. Just taught it to him last week, and he come out of it saying, wow, that's a really good game. Very easy to teach, easy to get a hold of. Strategies are really, really well. It doesn't play out the same way every time because the cards in it. As far as simulation, no, it's not a simulation, but for that matter, neither's Wilderness War. I mean, the way any card-driven game is not going to follow the direct history based on the shuffle of the cards. But when I played this with him, he tried to come up to Monongahela and hit Fort Duquesne, and I not only won, but I killed Braddock. So that's pretty historical. But it's just the way I happen to have the card that lets you roll to take out a leader. But hey, I was pretty impressed. We had quite a fight over there. He took it, and he kept trying to run what some might call the Halifax Hammer, but I kept Lewisburg I kept it pretty well solidified where he wasn't going that way. But as the French player, you put him in one place, you're not getting him in the other, and the British are just going to build up those forces over time. Now, how balanced is it? It is harder to win with the French. I don't know if it's a balance issue as much as a learning curve. It's a lot easier to play with the British when you get all these extra reinforcements. But the great thing about the game is that you can balance it out. Just bid. I mean, it's 10 victory points. If you get ahead by 10, you win the game. So bid on it. I can beat you by 12. The other guy says I win by 13. Name that tune. It's yours. You're the British. You know, if you spot me 20, I'm going to beat you. I mean, there's a mathematical limitation on what you can score in this. So you could bid to be the British and balance this thing out according to your ability, where if you got really good at the French, maybe 10 is a dogfight. When I played, last game I played, I got about 80% through the game before I lost it as the French, and even then I was making a few screw-ups that I could have, if I could have held on longer if I would have done a few things differently. So I have no problem with balance because it's highly customizable. Gameplay is very fun, very easy, and I haven't found I found some pretty decent games on the topic, but this is one of them a choice. As far as the time to play, I think BGG says 90 minutes. I don't know where that comes from, whatever. It's about a 3-hour game. 2.5 maybe if you're fast and you know what you're doing. Especially if you go out the full game, no way you're going to get that thing done in 90. So beware of that, but it is a one-sitting game. Very light, very easy. You can teach it to a new player. It's a great introductory block game. Gorgeous looking game, one of the best looking ones in my collection. So been real happy with this one. Only small gripe was, and I anticipated this, was the Kickstarter was about 11 months late. Basically, I think it's a two-man operation trying to deal with sending components to China. So there's first time they had to learn a lot of lessons with that. But the end product, I'm glad they did it this way. The mounted map, the gorgeous components, the cards, I would rather have this product 11 months late than a paper map and cheap cards a year ago. Because now I get to enjoy this from every day on and have a great looking product. So that's Wilderness Empire. Big hit with me.